So Ronnie, when we talk about strategy, what does that mean and what do we do with that?
And it's a really good question, because we have seen some absolutely appalling strategies, in inverted commas, come across our desks. And for me, it's really having clarity about what the purpose of the organization is. So we always start with Simon Sinek's why. So that's sort of core fundamental purpose, why they exist. And then their short, medium and long-term goals for the business strategy, what they want to achieve, where they see the opportunities arising. But I think also from our perspective, we are a marketing consultancy, and people will often try to limit us into a marketing strategy. And that's a box we always try to break out of, isn't it?
100%, yeah. So we tend to go into organizations and ask some pretty pressing questions, and we've had some eyebrows raised at times in some of what we call a deep dive. And it's exactly as you say, when you go into a board who sometimes are quite guarded, and rightly so, they might not know us incredibly well at that stage. They will get to know us incredibly well, but at that point they don't. And there's that trust barrier to break down, isn't there? And
100%.
And for them to understand and realise that we do genuinely know what we are talking about. And in some cases more than some people on the board, which I won't mention names, but we do go in on that. And one of our first questions is, what is your exit plan?
Yeah, and that exit plan can be personal. So for larger organizations, that might be, a CEO who has a tenure, has a time frame in mind, and they will have certain things that they want to achieve during that period. Or it can be for a scale up or growth business who exit could be either acquiring different organizations. It could be transferring ownership. So we've had one organization that we work very closely with become an employee-owned trust. And that assumes sort of a huge, quite a big shift, quite a lot of internal and brand engagement, quite a lot of education within those. And for other companies, it might be an exit, especially of the senior leadership team, which then means from a marketing perspective, we need to demonstrate that there is more value in the rest of the business aside from just the values that the owners and the founders bring. So we look at those sort of, all of that life cycle of a business, whether they're in scale up, whether they're in growth phase, which might mean new markets, new opportunities, new products, new services being developed. If they're in almost a defend situation, which might be, they're top of the market and they need to protect their market share. So that can lead to different things. And then absolutely the exit, what is that? And that could be acquisition as well. Yeah. Whether they're acquiring different businesses or planning an exit. So I think it's getting that framework of actually what are the real goals and objectives of that business from a business strategy perspective. Because if you then think about it, you have business strategy at the top that sets the frame, sets the picture. Your marketing strategy is in service of that, because that is, how are you going to engage people? Who are you going to engage, and with what are you going to engage them? So that's very audience focused in terms of actually really raising that brand awareness with the right people. And that can be internal and external people as well. It can be stakeholders. So you might be having a look at, your investors potentially as a stakeholder group, or say now you are looking to exit, you might be looking to make yourself attractive to acquirers. That then becomes a core audience, not just the sales side of things. And then from a marketing perspective, we talk about alignment with all the way through the funnel to the sales, the conversion of those people into new business. And I think that alignment piece is where we start, because then we can see what marketing is doing in service of the business strategy and in service of the business development.
Yeah, 100%. And what would you say to an organization if they said, why are we doing that?
That alignment piece. because that's where growth exists.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what you end up doing is creating silos. You have an executive team who has a very closely guarded business strategy, don't tell anybody. You have a marketing team who is there, has got KPIs of increasing brand awareness or building something, but they don't know the purpose of why they're doing it. It's just more. And then you've got the sales team who are just looking at hitting their targets and their KPIs. And if you don't have that alignment, what will tend to happen is if sales miss their target, it's marketing's fault. Mm-hmm. And if marketing aren't getting the KPIs, it's because they don't know what they're doing from a business strategy perspective. And that creates mistrust. And that actually means that you're not going to grow as effectively. HubSpot, who we know and we use quite effectively with a lot of our clients, said that only 22% of companies say that their sales and their marketing strategies are aligned. But when they are, 208% more revenue is generated.
Which is astronomical.
And that's just alignment. That's just internal communication and engagement and making certain that it's really effective all the way through.
It goes deeper than that as well, though, because if you're not aligned and then your sales team are upset because they're not hitting targets and they're under the cosh and they're getting hammered by sales director, by C-suite to perform and perform more, they then start to become unproductive because an unhappy worker is a bad worker, let's all be honest. And if you've got somebody that's not engaged, what is happening? What is that ripple effect through the business that then comes out the other end when you get to the bottom line at the end of the year? How is that impacting that?
But I think also worse than that, if not, well, actually as bad as that, is the fact that they might be bringing on customers that aren't the right type of customer or the right sort. And if you sell something for the wrong reasons, your customer is not going to be happy with what they get at the end, because essentially they are not receiving what they thought they would. And then that leads to a reputational issue, which then comes back around into marketing to be able to manage. And you create a sort of a reverse of a productive cycle where you're just managing customer complaints, customer loyalty, customer churn. So then your strategy has to shift to, oh, heck, we have to retain customers. That stops you doing new market growth because you're trying to protect and defend what you've got already. And I think that then means everybody's working hard for no additional gain.
Yeah. And then you've got a client retention problem. You then create an employee retention problem. Recruiting is hard. It's expensive. It's time consuming. And then to get people up to speed when you do bring new people in, you're looking at a 3 to 6 month period before they become seriously effective, unless you get a golden goose and everything's wonderful in the world.
To watch the full episode, please go to the Transform UK channel and maybe consider subscribing. Or don't, but probably do. Definitely do.